What is going on, guys? Here we go again. The big name free agents of 2020 have signed new deals. It doesn't take an Einstein to figure out which contracts will turn out to be disastrous. But on the positive side, some of these deals promise to be completely worthwhile, ones that will help teams reach that next level. Here's a look at 5 NFL free agents who will shine in their new teams and 5 who will fail. Number 5, shine. Malcolm Jenkins. Shortly after he was released by the Philadelphia Eagles, Pro Bowl safety Malcolm Jenkins returned to the New Orleans Saints on a 4-year deal worth $32 million. That seems like a lot of money, but Jenkins is still as good as ever. Just 1 year removed from his 3rd Pro Bowl selection, Jenkins will now line up alongside Marcus Williams in the secondary. Jenkins, of course, was on a Saints Super Bowl 44 championship team, and he won his 2nd ring with the Eagles during the 2017 season. His winning experience will be key to a New Orleans team that finds the most heartbreaking ways to lose playoff games. Jenkins has also been remarkably durable, suiting up for every game since the start of the 2014 season. He'll provide a huge boost to a suspect New Orleans secondary. This is the perfect ad for a team that's built to win now while Drew Brees is still out. Jenkins, Williams, and Marshawn Lattimore patrolling the secondary. That should make things difficult for the other 3 high-powered offenses in the NFC South. Number 5, fail. Melvin Gordon. Even though the Denver Broncos have a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher in Philip Lindsay, John Elway couldn't help but fork out a 2-year, $16 million contract to Melvin Gordon. And as good as Gordon is, we can't understand this deal in any way. Gordon endured a frustrating 2019 season with the Los Angeles Chargers. Having held out for the first month, Gordon reportedly sought over $10 million on a new deal, which the Chargers were wise to avoid. So why is Elway giving this much money to a guy who's coming off a down year, when he already has a stud number 1 running back, and he could also find suitable number 2 backs for far less money? Didn't Elway see the Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and David Johnson contracts? Okay, Gordon's $16 million deal is modest compared to what those 4 men received, but that's still a lot of money for a committee back. Elway should have used this money to address a leaky offensive line or lackluster secondary. You don't need 2 number 1 running backs to win in football. No one does. This was just an unnecessary ad for the Broncos. You gotta expect Elway to have buyer's remorse after 1 year. Number 4, shine. Kyle Van Noy. The Miami Dolphins were loaded with salary cap space, and GM Chris Grier wasted no time addressing the defensive side of the ball. He signed the top free agent corner in Byron Jones, and pass rushers Shaq Lawson and Emmanuel Ogbah. But our favorite signing of Grier's, it's Kyle Van Noy. The 4-year, $51 million contract for Van Noy may have been a bit of an overpay, but we still expect him to make a big impact in Miami. After 2.5 unproductive seasons with the Lions, Van Noy emerged as a centerpiece on the New England Patriots defense. Another good old Bill Belichick reclamation project. Van Noy is coming off a career year in which he posted 6.5 sacks, 3 passes defended, and a trio of forced fumbles. After Stephon Gilmore, he was arguably the most important player on the league's best scoring defense from 2019. Van Noy was a force all over the field for the Patriots, as a pass rusher, run stopper, and in coverage. At this point, you may be saying to yourself, but high-priced free agents never succeed after they leave New England. Well, Van Noy has familiarity with Dolphins head coach Brian Flores, who was on New England's defensive staff. Van Noy and Flores spent 3 years together in Foxborough, and the latter served as New England's defensive play caller in their 2018 Super Bowl season. Flores knows what he's getting in Van Noy. He oversaw the latter's development in New England. Expect Van Noy to emerge as the key leader on Miami's rebuilt defense. Number 4, fail. Austin Hooper. For the 2nd straight year, we'll go ahead and call the Cleveland Browns a big winner in the offseason, replacing Freddie Kitchens with Kevin Stefanski, hiring Andrew Berry as your new GM, bringing in Jack Conklin to repair a hard offensive line. Yeah, the Browns already look primed to compete in 2020, but again, they did last year as well, and However, we're not so high on the Browns' decision to hand Pro Bowl tight end Austin Hooper a 4-year contract worth $44 million. The Browns already have 2 premier pass catchers in Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. They also have an above-average tight end in David Njoku, who was limited to 4 games in 2019. Remember the promise he showed in 2018, with 56 receptions for 639 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Browns don't really need Hooper when they have OBJ, Landry, and Njoku. Hooper is more of a luxury than a necessity, and going from Matt Ryan to Baker Mayfield should also result in a decrease in the 25-year-old tight end's numbers. Stefanski will put a lot of emphasis on the running game in Cleveland. Mayfield will be passing a lot less in 2020, meaning Hooper won't get a lot of targets as the number 3 or number 4 pass catching option. This was a high-profile signing, with Hooper being one of the best pass catchers available in free agency, but it has regret written all over it. Number 3, shine. Emmanuel Sanders. Look at the 2018 and 2019 New Orleans Saints rosters. The only noticeable weak link was a reliable number 2 receiver. When Michael Thomas faced double teams, Drew Brees lacked another reliable option in the pass-catching game. Tight end Jared Cook performed well in 2019, but he wasn't getting consistently open. So GM Mickey Loomis looked to address their need for a number 2 pass catcher, and he found it in Emmanuel Sanders. The charismatic wideout signed a bargain 2-year deal worth $16 million. Now opposing teams will have to account for Thomas, Cook, Sanders, and do-it-all running back Alvin Kamara. Sanders has played in 3 Super Bowls with 3 different teams, winning it all with the Broncos in the 2015 season. He's a sharp route runner who can work the middle of the field nicely. But Sanders is also a major deep ball threat. You saw Jimmy Garoppolo barely overthrow him near the end of Super Bowl 54. Sanders appeared to be wide open for the game-winning touchdown on the play. There's a good chance that Sanders doesn't put up his routine 60-plus catches and 800-plus yards. But that's okay. He'll create a lot of mismatches for the Saints offense, and it'll open up more room for Thomas. The Saints have to be aggressive while the window is open under Drew Brees. Adding both Jenkins and Sanders will make a huge difference. So, Mr. Loomis, take a bow. Number 3 fail, Dante Fowler Jr. The Atlanta Falcons rebuilt their defense entirely, moving on from corner Desmond Trufant and underachieving pass rusher Vic Beasley to offset some of the losses. GM Thomas Dimitroff signed Fowler to a 3-year deal worth $48 million. Fowler was drafted 3rd overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2015, but he failed to live up to expectations big time. The Jaguars sent him to the LA Rams at the 2018 trade deadline, and Fowler received his career under Sean McVay and legendary defensive coordinator Wade Phillips. Gotta love good old Wade, huh? Fowler played a big role in helping the Rams reach Super Bowl 53. Then he broke out in 2019 with 11.5 sacks, as well as 6 passes defended and 2 forced fumbles. The Falcons are paying Fowler with the belief that they'll get the same level of production, but we don't buy it. Fowler couldn't get much going on the ferocious Jacksonville front 7. He was able to rebound with 2 great coaches in LA. Now what? Dan Quinn should have been fired years ago in Atlanta. Should we expect him to help Fowler grow as a star? Can't blame Fowler for trying to reset his free agent value in hopes of landing a giant contract for next year. But Atlanta is not the fit for him. We would not be surprised if he was traded again at the 2020 trade deadline. Number 2, shine, Tom Brady. In a previous video, we analyzed 5 reasons why Tom Brady would succeed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and 5 reasons why he would fail. We're not here to tell you that Brady will guide the Buccaneers to another Super Bowl championship, but he is in great position to enjoy 1 or 2 more statistically strong seasons. Brady has been on a noticeable decline over the past 3 years. But here's the thing, a no longer in his prime Tom Brady is still above average. He's still the GOAT. He can still do things that many other quarterbacks can't. The TB12 method has clearly paid off. Brady has avoided serious injuries while staying remarkably fit and durable, even as he enters his mid-40s. He gets to work with Bruce Arians, one of the greatest offensive-minded coaches ever. The dude got to work with Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, and Carson Palmer, and he turned Jameis Winston, into the NFL's passing yards leader. That's kind of crazy. Brady will also have a pair of 1,000-yard wideouts in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard form one of the league's better tight end duos. And the pieces are there for Brady to have another Pro Bowl season or 2. Again, we know he's going to 45, and he's probably going to retire Buccaneer, which is really weird. But in that regard, we expect Brady to shine with Tampa. We're not ready to call the Bucs Super Bowl contenders. Just enjoy Brady while you have him, because you probably never thought this would be possible. I don't think any of us did. So good for you guys. Number 2, fail. Jimmy Graham. The good news, Jimmy Graham only signed a 2-year deal. The bad news, pretty much everything else about his contract. The past his prime, former Pro Bowler signed a 2-year contract worth $16 million with the Bears. Yes, they desperately needed some help at tight end, but this was not the right move. Do the Bears really think that Graham will rebound with Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles after flopping with Aaron Rodgers? That's Aaron Rodgers. In 2 years with the Green Bay Packers, Graham compiled just 93 total receptions for 1,083 yards and 5 touchdowns. Again, absolutely nothing about this deal makes sense to us. Graham has lost plenty of steps. He doesn't have the same speed and athleticism that made him a force for the Saints and Seahawks. Graham is also one of the worst blocking tight ends in the game. Why not overpay for Austin Hooper or Eric Ebron? Or even wait until the draft to find somebody else? The Bears, man, can't really figure him out. Number 1, shine. Teddy Bridgewater. This, folks, was the ultimate grand prize of free agency. The Carolina Panthers made the difficult but ultimately the right decision to release an off-injured aging Cam Newton. They also made the right choice to quickly trade away Kyle Allen, who simply wasn't suited to be a long-term answer. Carolina didn't waste any time finding their quarterback of the future. They gave Teddy Bridgewater a 3-year contract worth $63 million. And the Panthers have every reason to believe that he'll succeed in the system. Bridgewater will work with new head coach Matt Rule. Cole, who made the jump to the NFL following a successful 3-year stint at Baylor. Bridgewater went 5-0 as a starter with the Saints last season. He had 9 touchdowns against only 2 interceptions. And please don't tell us that he was a product of the Saints system. Bridgewater also led the Minnesota Vikings to the 2015 NFC North Division title in his sophomore year. The guy's legit. Bridgewater will be in a tremendous position to succeed. Carolina added former New York Jets wideout Robbie Anderson in free agency, as if the likes of Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel weren't enough to begin with. The Panthers have to share a division with Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and Tom Brady. That won't be easy, but having Bridgewater under center strongly enhances their playoff chances. He did really well. I'm so pissed the Jets got rid of him, but whatever. And it would have been cool to see him as the Saints main guy once Drew Brees leaves, but he's gonna do good things regardless. He's young enough to be their quarterback of the future too. We absolutely love everything about this signing. It's really hard to not keep gushing over this, so we'll stop. Number 1 fail, Jamie Collins. The Detroit Lions can't get over the obsession of trying to establish the Patriots connection in their system. GM Bob Quinn was once a Patriots scout. Head coach Matt Patricia was once Bill Belichick's defensive coordinator. Okay, maybe the Danny Amendola and Trey Flowers signing weren't so bad. But do you really think the Lions' plan to acquire seemingly half of the 2019 New England Patriots defense will work? We don't mind the Danny Shelton signing or the Deron Harmon trade. The Lions didn't have to pay much for either, but the Jamie Collins signing, a 3-year pact worth $30 million. Man, the versatile linebacker was a game-changing force for the Patriots before Bill Belichick traded him to the Browns in 2016. But Collins was a total bust in Cleveland, and they released him in the 2019 offseason. Collins went back to New England on a 1-year deal, and sure enough, he regained his old Pro Bowl form. Collins had 7.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 7 passes defended for the Patriots in 2019. All career highs. You really think he's going to repeat that type of production without Belichick? We've seen Collins perform like a star with the Patriots on 2 occasions. He did very little in Cleveland though. If I had to guess, I'd say the Lions are more likely to get the Cleveland version of Collins rather than the New England version. Why? It's simple. Belichick knows how to use him. Other coaches don't. Patricia acts like he's Belichick, but he's not. Good on Collins for resetting his free agent value. That's a nice payday for him. But the Lions will most likely regret handing out this contract when all this is said and done. What other free agents will shine with their new teams and which ones will fail? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, run everything. Go find us. Type it in. Search it. You're the best. We love you guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below. If you love it, give it a like. Does that make sense? I don't know. Subscribe to TPS. We post videos every single day. Every day's a new video. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.